Civilization 7 released a little over a month ago, and already we are getting hit with DLC. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the exact same thing. And look, while I agree with you, you're more than welcome to leave an angry comment down below telling me exactly what you think. But let's get to it, because we've actually got 3 things to talk about today, all related to the new DLC. 2K has just dropped this brand new information pack on their website, so we're going to be going through it. We're going to be looking at Carthage, the Antiquity Age civilization. We're going to be looking at Great Britain, the Modern Age civilization. And we're going to be looking at Ada Lovelace, who is a brand new leader coming to Civilization 7 as part of the paid Crossroads of the World Collection DLC. So let's take a look at her unique ability, Enchantress of Number. Cities receive increased science per age when you complete a civic mastery. This resets at the start of each age. You gain culture equal to a % of your total science per turn when you complete a technology mastery. So just to read into this, because there's quite a bit that's going on here. So your cities receive science per age when you complete a civic mastery. This resets at the start of each age, and then you gain equal culture to a percentage of your total science per turn when you complete a technology mastery. Further, her attributes are scientific and cultural. There's a lot of similarities here between her and Catherine. If we take a look at Catherine, she has got a cultural and scientific bonus, or attribute bonus, which means that she can send out the cultural agreement, she can send out the research collaboration early on, a very powerful combination to have, and quite rare. She's the only leader that's got it up until the introduction of Ada. Further to that, though, we also see similarities here in that there's a little bit of a blend, a mix. You've got the cities settled in tundra gaining science equal to 25% of their culture. Ada Lovelace has got something very similar in that regard. And then you've also got culture coming through from Great Works, and the Great Works are received by doing the masteries through your technology. So there's a lot of similarities between these two leaders. The first thing that came to mind for me with this was the memento at level 9 available to Himiko, and that's +2 science per age for every technology mastery completed. I thought, that's probably going to work quite well with her, but I'm sure she's got her own mementos that are going to be absolutely amazing. Let's take a look at her agenda. It's called Analytical Engine, which increases the relationship by a small amount for the leader with the most masteries, decreases it by a small amount for the leader with the fewest masteries, and no starting biases. Now, this is quite interesting because, one of the key things for Catherine is she's got a tundra bias. That's actually what makes her a very strong leader, one of the strongest in the games. No bias here means that you're not going to have that same sort of consistency as somebody like Catherine. So from a balance perspective, probably going to be coming in a little bit weaker than Catherine, but we're obviously just going to have to wait and see the numbers. Nonetheless, exciting. Looks like a pretty fun design. Looks a little bit confusing, but I'm sure once we get the hang of it, it's going to make a lot of sense. The main focus, science, culture. That sounds perfect to me, because all we got to do now is work on production. There's also been artwork of her released. I don't know if this is accurate, but this is what is currently circulating on the internet. Looks pretty good to me. I suspect that's probably going to be it. Anyway, let's move on to our civilization. So we'll start off with Carthage. And look, if you've ever played any One City Challenges before, you're going to be feeling at home with Carthage. Let's talk a little bit about what you've got here. So, unique ability, the Phoenician heritage, can only have one city. Towns cannot use convert to city. When you create a merchant or a colonist unit, so the colonist, I'm assuming, is their unique settler unit, just the same way like the founder is the first settler unit that you start off with, and then you can create settlers. They can only create colonists, and you gain a copy of that unit. So when you create a merchant or a colonist unit, you gain a copy of that unit. So just so you're getting that right, if you create a colonist unit, you get a second one. Yeah, this is going to get pretty wild, especially with leaders. Immediately, the first one that jumps to mind for me is Augustus. I'm like, oh my god, Augustus is going to love this. So attributes, militaristic, economic. These are the civilization attributes. We've got the civics trees here as well. We'll get into the civics trees a little bit later. First, we'll touch on their unique components. So they've got unique infrastructure. We've got the Punic port, which is a unique quarter. So that means that you have to build both of the buildings together. And that increases the resource capacity in the settlement, and it can be built in towns, which is very interesting. So this automatically, or this straight away is just like, meh, it's not that good. This isn't that good. But this is interesting because it can be built in towns, which means you can build both of these in towns. Let's take a look and see what we can do. Cothan, which is a unique building, production base, production adjacency with coast and navigable rivers must be built on a coast tile, and the dockyard, a unique building with a gold base, food adjacency with resources and districts also must be built on a coast tile. So basically, you're looking for a coast tile to put this down, because obviously it's got to be built in the water. Here we've got production adjacency with coast and navigable rivers. Here we've got food adjacency with resources and districts. So basically, you're going to want to try and cluster it with your food and your gold buildings. That's going to be a key here, as well as on this position, it's coast and navigable river. So maybe targeted a little bit more towards somebody like Hatshepsut, perhaps. So that is. That sounds pretty good. I can get behind that. I think the primary focus, though, that you're going to be looking for is the production adjacency with coast and navigable rivers. So you'd probably want to focus it a bit more on that, because production's more important than food in this sort of environment, I suspect. So unique civilian unit, you've got the colonist, which replaces the settler. Increased embarked movement. Increased population if settled adjacent to a resource. I wonder how much we can push that. Can we settle next to 3 resources or 4 resources and get 4 extra population? We'll have to sort that one out. Unique military unit, the Numidian cavalry. Unique cav unit can only be purchased and are more expensive than other cavalry units. Increased combat strength for each unique city resource assigned to your capital. The key word there being unique, and that's also city resource. Keep in mind that there is 3 different types of resources. You've got city resources, bonus resources, and empire resources. So city resources are the resources that can only go in cities. Things like incense, things like silk. These can only go inside your cities. And the associated wonder. So we've got the Brysa, which has a gold base, and trade routes from this settlement cannot be plundered. So that's similar to the Axum bonus. The Axums have got that through their Tanqua. So we've got cannot be pillaged right here. So it's similar to that. So you probably wouldn't want to be building this, because then you'd have the same bonus already as Axum. All tiles in this city, keep in mind, because this, while they have an associated wonder, it's not unique, it's not exclusive. All tiles in this city that are adjacent to coast and eligible for walls, receive a wall, must be placed adjacent to a coast tile. And they've got a coast and grassland starting bias. So I would say these are not particularly strong starting biases either. So already from the starting biases, that gives you a lot of consistency. So let's take a look at what their civics are. Now, keep in mind, we don't have any numbers on these, so we just get a general idea of what they've got. So the first one is ship sheds. So that gives you, so I think that's the first one, and then, I don't know, we've got tier 1 and tier 2, and then there's a tradition that it provides. So I'm assuming that this is like ship sheds, the actual technology, and then this one is the mastery. I suspect that's how they're doing it. So we'll go tier 1, increased movement for naval units, unlocks the Cothan unique building, and Brysa wonder. It's actually really good that they're unlocking it this early. Normally it's all the way down in the tech tree, and it can be, I think they definitely need to rebalance some of the unique tech trees, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, I'm not going to go 6 techs deep just to get to my Gate of All Nations that I can just build with like my second civic. That's not happening, Chief. So that definitely looks good. And then tier 2 is increased range for naval units. Wow. Unlocks the Quinquereme tradition. The tradition Quinquereme increases gold towards purchasing naval units and decreased gold maintenance for naval units. So definitely a more naval type of play here. Obviously, we've seen that through this thematically. There has been a huge component. If we take a look at their unique infrastructure, the fact that we've also got for their colonist as well, which had increased embarked movement. So there's very much a theme about being out there. So probably going to be a very strong civilization when it comes to your archipelagos. Definitely going to be excelling as you make your way across the oceans. Then we've got, for the second civic, so we've got Wisdom of Tanit, which is tier 1, increased sea trade route range, increased gold in the capital for every trade route from the capital, unlocks the dockyard unique building. So this is the second civic that you have access to. The second tier increases the resource cap in the capital and unlocks the Gaullus tradition. The Gaullus tradition increases gold towards purchasing buildings on coast or navigable rivers. Okay, I'm starting to see it building. So we're going to play with this. Okay, this is made for Augustus right here. Augustus already gets gold towards purchasing buildings in towns. And then you get, so if you get the resource gold, that goes even further with Augustus. And now on top of that, with this tradition, increased gold towards purchasing buildings on coast or navigable rivers, and it's purchased in the towns. This civilization is made for Augustus. I'm sorry, Augustus, you're not Roman, at least not today. And then finally, we've got the Sicilian Wars. Tier 1, increased settlement cap unlocks the Safets tradition. The tradition for Sefets is increased gold from mining towns, increased food from fishing or farming towns. And Tier 2, increased movement and sight for the Numidian cavalry unique unit. Okay, so there you go. Overall for the Carthage civilization, it looks like it's going to definitely shake up quite a lot of the Antiquity Age. Keep in mind that obviously once you do get to the Age of Exploration, you're going to be able to bring those cities online. But there's nothing to stop you from really going quite wide with this, I would suspect. We do know that you've got at least one increased settlement cap down here. You're also going to have lots of extra colonist units because you get a copy of them. On top of that, you also get extra merchants whenever you create them. So we're already seeing some really strong synergies here. In my mind, I'm just definitely seeing there's no way it goes past Augustus. This is going to be incredible for him. Further to that, the only other thing I was thinking about was the Numidian cavalry. Unique cav unit can only be purchased and are more expensive than other cav units. Can we just talk about Charlemagne for a second? Because Charlemagne gets 2 free cav units once unlocked when entering a celebration, and he gets the combat strength for cav units for a celebration. So if you've already got stronger cav that can only be purchased and are more expensive than other cav units, now all of a sudden I'm getting them for free, 2 of them. That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. So I think that could be one of those sleeper picks. Now, I don't think we saw anything really themed in here about happiness, so maybe we'll have to, mull that one over a little bit longer. But overall, I think this is going to be a welcome addition to Civ 7 in the Age of Antiquity. Let's check in with Great Britain, though, because it's time for us to move over here. Now, keep in mind, I just want to caveat everything that I say about Great Britain with, I don't have a lot of experience in the modern age. I've got like 500 hours in Civ 7 now, and almost all of that is exclusive to the Age of Antiquity. I've played like 2 or 3 playthroughs now in Exploration. I still haven't played through Modern. So I'm just going to start by caveating the entirety of this section with that. Unique ability, Workshop of the World. Buildings are a set percentage cheaper to produce or purchase. Converting towns into cities costs a set percentage more. Very interesting. So we've got ourselves... I'm trying to think of what the ramifications are for this. Now, keep in mind, this is Great Britain, so this better be pretty damn great. They're economic, they're expansionist, which definitely makes sense. We'll come down to their civics trees a little bit sooner, because we need to know the context of these civics trees. Unique infrastructure. Financial center. So they're going to have a unique quarter, which increases gold for every connected settlement. And royal exchange. Unique building. With a gold base, gold adjacency for quarters. That's great. You want to build it clustered around everything. And then a manufactory. Unique building, production base, production adjacency from resources, and gold adjacency with navigable rivers. So once again, we're seeing this gold adjacency. So you're getting quite an interesting combination here, because you've got this production/science adjacency for resources, and then you've got the gold adjacency for navigable rivers. Note that that's not coast. Note that that is not the ocean. That is just quite simply navigable rivers only. So once again, maybe there's a little bit of synergy going on here with Hatshepsut again. Unique civilian unit is the Antiquarian. It's a unique explorer unit which receives culture for every tile from your capital when you use the excavate artifact action. Okay. And unique, I'll be honest, every like 3 words in this sentence were just, they didn't mean anything to me. Unique military unit, revenge. That's a good name. Unique naval unit has the splash keyword. Has the splash keyword? Did you guys forget to put a word in here? Has the splash keyword? Dealing a small... Maybe that's just how they identify it. Has the splash modifier, dealing a small amount of damage to all enemy units adjacent to the target tile while attacking. I'm just going to put it out there. Splash is so dangerous. You got to be real careful with splash damage, man. That can get dangerous quickly. Okay, and the associated wonder is the Battersea Power Station, which has got a production base. I'm going to be honest, I've never heard of this before, but I'm looking forward to finding out more about it. Production base, when training a naval unit, receive an additional naval unit of this. Oh wow, okay. They are really bringing back Venice, aren't they? When training a naval unit, receive an additional naval unit of the same type. Wow, okay, all right. The Venetian arsenal is back in business, baby. Must be built on a land tile adjacent to water. So that's what the Battersea Power Station's all about. No starting bias. Linked. Let's have a look and see what their civics trees are. Hey, I like this. This is exciting. That is very, very cool. Do we have a picture of it up here? It could be anywhere. It could be anywhere. It could be down here. I don't see it. I see a lot of rockets getting ready to launch. Is it maybe? No, it can't be that. I'm not sure. I'm not qualified to talk about the modern age. I'll say that much right now. Civics trees, Pax Britannica. Tier 1. Settlements receive increased production for each factory resource assigned to them. Unlocks the Royal Exchange unique building. Tier 2. Unlocks the Manufactory unique building and the Battersea Power Station Wonder. So that's quite early. And keep in mind, that's within the very first civic that you've got. Then we've got 1, 2, 3 more civics after that. So then we've got the Society of Antiquaries. So Tier 1, increased movement for civilian units, unlocks the Proceedings tradition, and this is the Proceedings tradition, because it's proceeding. We've got cities with both a great work and a resource slotted receive increased culture and science. Charlemagne, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to turn your voices off. You're very excited back there, my friend, and we're going to have to calm that down. And then we've got chartered companies. So Tier 1 is a ports provide increased resource capacity, unlocks the East India Company tradition, and that tradition is increased gold on each buildings in town, or on each building in towns. So there almost seems to be a little bit of synergy right now between Great Britain and Carthage. I could definitely feel how they're sort of drawing parallels in here, and little things like this right here just make me go, hold on a minute. Well, we're going to be having a lot of buildings in towns if we're playing Carthage. So that's definitely one way to be looking at it. We've also got Splendid Isolation, Tier 1. Units received increased combat strength unless you're yielding negative gold per turn at the start of the turn. Okay. I don't know enough about Modern to be like, to understand what that actually means. I know what yielding negative gold per turn is, but how often is that? Surely not that often. Increased settlement cap unlocks the No Eternal Allies tradition. Oh, jeez, that's awkwardly timed, isn't it? Increased gold in towns. For every alliance, receive decreased gold in the capital. Okay, so it's very much about isolationist, quite literally, Splendid Isolation. Sure, I'll accept that. All right, well, overall, as I said, I'm really not qualified to talk about this. Even at this stage, I don't know a whole lot about the modern age civilizations, apart from one of them can buy world wonders, which is cool. But yeah, I mean, overall, it looks pretty good. Pretty excited. I think what's quite... Oh, further to this, there's also a natural wonder that's coming. So that's going to be the Bermuda Triangle. But I think what's most interesting about this is just how much Carthage is really going to change this up. For me, the enjoyment at the moment is definitely the Age of Antiquity. I've really enjoyed exploring the Age of Exploration, but it feels like the true power of your empire is determined in the Age of Antiquity. That is what really sets you up for success. And I'm confident that with the addition of Carthage, we've got more options now, and that makes it exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Of course, if you haven't already, feel free to leave an angry comment. I will go through and read all of the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. And of course, if you're looking forward to more Civilization 7 content, feel free to check out the Discord or, of course, hit the subscribe button because there is always time for one more turn.